All right. Hello and welcome to this Thursday's Mastermind discussion. This is going to be a roundtable discussion. My name is E.R. Wolf and I'm one of the co-founders here at Elify, and we're excited to have you on. So yeah, let's get started. We're going to carry on with this small 15-minute micro training about the topic we've been talking about this week, which is, again, will, skill, and refill with focused effort. So we kicked off the week talking about this. We've talked about the power of will, the power of developing the knowledge, the skills, and acquiring the tools to be successful. And we've talked about the refill, the ability to remind ourselves so that we stay consistent over time, which is the big key to all of this, right? It's progress over time by being consistent with the actions, and that requires focused effort. So guys, super excited to continue on with this topic. I know Guy's going to be jumping on to add some thoughts here, hopefully during this little 15-minute micro training. But I'm also looking forward to hearing from you guys about this will, skill, and refill with focused effort. And I've been thinking about this topic all week long. And a lot of the times I'm thinking about the difference between the people who are successful and the people who want to be successful but fail to get there. And I think about these fatal flaws, as I would call them, that result in limiting that potential for success. And that may sound weird, but we have to think back to the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule we all think about, where 20% of the people get 80% of the results. Well, the converse of that is that 80% of people are only getting 20% of the results. And when you distribute those results over all of those people, they're not being as successful as they would hope or choose or desire to be. And I think this is critical because I think we all have that desire to be successful, but we're not putting the elements in place consistently and with focused effort to get there. And the tipping point or the difference is actually very small, but we have to be aware of it so that we can address it within ourselves so that we collectively as a community can be included in that 20% versus falling back into that 80%. And I think that's the biggest thing here, because I see it time and time again, and it doesn't matter what you're working on. There is a system or a process that you can put in place to increase the success of progress towards that end goal. A good example of this would be maybe you're focused on an area of your physical health, right? Or you're on a weight loss journey, okay? And you want to lose weight. You have to understand that that's going to take focus, effort over time to accomplish that result, and that it must be consistent and sustained in order to achieve that result. And then afterwards, it must be maintained in order to have that result stick. And a lot of people, they get out of the gate, they're really excited. They adopt the habits in the process in the system, they apply it, and in some cases even see success. But then once they get there, it all sort of slides back down. And our goal and hope as a community is not to have that happen to any of us, right? It's to achieve and work towards hitting our goal. And then as we go through the process in the system with will, skill, and refill, we're always sort of moving that mile marker out further, that milestone or that main goal, so that we're exceeding our expectations, surpassing our goals, and making more forward progress. I hope this all makes sense, and we're going to put it sort of all together here in just a second. So let's start at the very beginning. Will. Will is what we've talked about with the circle of life, with understanding where we are at and where we will get to when we think about what the 10 out of 10 for each of the spokes on our circle of life means. So we have to go through that practice of identifying where we are, where we want to go, and then reverse engineering a plan to get there. All reverse engineering the plan is what are the accomplishable steps, habits, system, and process that I need to put in place in order to go from where I'm at to where I want to get. That's the will, guys. Now, if you have a plan, first you got to make a plan, right? Then you have to make sure you have the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to implement your plan. That's the next critical component. You can have the best laid plan in the world, but if you don't have the tools, the skills, and the knowledge to put that into practice, it's just going to sit there with no action on it. So we want to make sure we make our plan. Then we want to make sure we have the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to execute on that plan. This is one of those areas where Elify and Shuffle and Tap come in on the tool side. But as Kathy does so well, we want to make sure we have the knowledge and the skills to implement those tools. Likewise, with any other tool that you're using or any other knowledge and skill that you need to gain for whatever you're focused on for those priorities on your wheel of life. And then the most important and critical thing, and I think it's heavily overlooked, we talked about this on Monday, is the refill, right? So we do will, we do skill, and we do refill. Guys, if we're not reminding ourselves, we may be highly motivated when we get started. We may be inspired by listening to some guru out there pump us up or whatnot. And then we get out of the gate and we start running. And then we sort of peter off over time. The refill is what keeps us going, reminds us what we're doing, and keeps us consistent on that path. This is the most critical component of the whole thing because it's focused effort over time and being consistent in our plan that's going to inevitably result in our success. And I want to say that again, inevitably result in our success. And here's, again, an example of that. I know many of you know that Guy and I are ex-athletes, so a lot of the analogies focus on health and fitness. We did a lot of training when we were athletes and things like that. And here's my promise to you of an inevitable result. Independent of where you are in your physical or health journey, right? And that's one of the spokes on the wheel of life. If you made a change and started doing additional activity every single day, and it's whatever it is for you, and you sustain that activity over the next 12 months, it is a guarantee that you will be better off than when you started. That's the reality of an inevitable result that happens. The same thing, if you're in sales and marketing, and you realize that part of your plan is to go out and prospect, and you say, okay, in order to prospect, I need to go and do this many online events or this many offline events to meet my prospects, or this many trade shows or this many events to meet my prospects. And you implement that and you sustain it with focused effort over time, it's inevitable that you're going to see an uptick in the amount of prospects that you generate. Same thing with the follow-up phone calls, right? If you say, okay, my plan is to go from where I'm at here to where I want to be, and as I reverse engineered that, I realized the revenue generating activity is I have to have more touch points with my prospects in order for them to make an informed buying decision to purchase from me. I'm going to shift over to what the 20% are doing, those 5 to 12 touch points versus the 1 or less touch points that 80% of people are doing. And I sustain that over time. It's inevitable that I will convert more of my prospects into customers. Likewise, the exact same thing here, guys. If I have customers and I decide that I can turn my customers into raving fans by providing them value and service, and all of a sudden my customers, they stay on longer on average, right? We extend their basket size, their lifetime user value. And all of a sudden we know every person on average knows 600 other people. Word of mouth marketing is the most powerful form of marketing. We were just talking about that on our influencer call yesterday. That if we do that, we're going to get the result or the outcome that happens from doing that, right? We're going to open up that door to a larger audience, and we'll realize that if we've got 100 customers or even 10 customers, that's access to a pool of 6,000 other people in which some of our potential customers are, because like attracts like, right? So our customers have in their sphere of influence other potential customers. Not 100% of their 600 are our customers, but we want to go down that path. So again, will, skill, and refill, we need to constantly remind ourselves on a daily basis, if that's what's required, what we're doing and why we're doing it. In athletics, you wake up every day reminding yourself of what the goal is. And the goal might be to win that championship, right? But if that championship game isn't going to happen until the end of the season, you realize that goal by reminding yourself of what the end goal is, but focusing on the actions and steps that you can take each and every day. That might be preparing for this week, executing on this week. And this is why we do 5 calls a week. Now, I think it was 6. It's going to be 6 this week because Kathy knocked it out of the park with an in-depth training last night. Why are we doing this, guys? We don't do it for ourselves here. We do it for you because we want to inspire and remind you on a daily basis of what you're doing. We're just implementing the process and the plan, and we're being consistent with it. And we're hoping to lead by example here. On Monday, we talk about the sprint planning. Guys, it's redundant, right? Everybody knows you got to make a plan. You got to execute your plan. We do it because it's a reminder that every one of us is going to slip. Every one of us is going to have a bad day, right? It's about progress, not perfection. And if you're anything like me, I used to be the guy that was like, oh man, if it was a bad day, I failed in my perfect, sort of momentum there. And I had a streak going on and I broke my streak. And you know what? I'll just wait till the first of next month to get started again. Or worse off, the beginning of next year to get into that life-changing thing. No, every day is a new day. There's an old saying as an entrepreneur, it's okay to fire yourself as long as you're willing to rehire yourself the next day. Guys, we're not going to have a perfect day every day. We want to prepare for that. This is what all of this is about. And when we implement these types of strategies, we elevate our potential for success. That's what's so important about all of this, right? We elevate our potential for success. So we come in every Monday, and hopefully, if you've been following along, you're coming in prepared on Monday, which means Sunday evening, you've taken, 15 minutes of your time to say, what am I going to do this week? What are the important things? What's top priority? We don't manage our time, we prioritize it. So we want to think in our mind, what are the most important things I have to do over the next 7 days? It's not hard, but you have to put in the work and you have to put in that focused effort on each of the items that you're doing. Guy talks about the AMP, attitude, moment, and process. For everything that you're doing, you can amp yourself up for that thing, right? And it's going to be different for everything. So Monday, we make our plan. Then we can get that plan out of our mind and just focus on one day at a time. Too many people fatal flaws out here. Too many people are sitting there focusing on the end goal, right? My end goal is to be a millionaire, or my end goal is to lose 80 pounds. And we start to not celebrate the little victories that are showing that we're making momentum. We talked about it in James Clear's book. There's that chasm that happens. We think we're going to have linear growth. It's parabolic growth. And if we're not meeting our expectations, I'm only down 2 pounds and I was expecting to be down 5. I should just quit. These are the sounds that we talk to ourselves worse than we talk to anybody else. You know what I mean? So we have to go through a process that reminds us, that's the refill, every day why we're doing what we're doing. And only when we look back over time, hindsight's 2020, when we look back over time, we can see the sum of all of that progress. And guys, again, it's about progress, not perfection. If you made steady progress, guys, towards your goal, okay, and I'm going to pick an arbitrary goal. I want to earn 6 figures residually, right? Passive income every year. That's my goal. Okay. Maybe yours is bigger. Maybe yours is smaller. Seems like a roundabout goal with simple numbers. Maybe that's your goal. If you had a goal to do that in a year and instead it took you 3 years, would you be unhappy at the end of 3 years? No, you still achieved your goal. But so many times I see people, they're 6 months towards that goal and they're that far behind and they just give up and go back to the status quo. It's about consistency and focused effort over time. Like I said, if you wanted to change your health and you made a subtle change, I'm going to give you an example in my own personal life. When my wife and I started dating, I realized that she was a vegetarian and I was a carnivore. Okay. Big difference there. We're cooking 2 meals, all of that type of stuff. And I decide, okay, if this is love, I'm going to make the change. And I became a vegetarian. It was hard at first, right? You had those cravings. I'll tell you what, in the summertime, you walk by those people grilling outside and you smell those burgers and that grilled chicken, all that type of stuff. You start getting those cravings again. They still come back to this day. And guess what? I found out my wife even gets those cravings, right? Ooh, sometimes I just don't want to be a vegetarian. Those burgers smell so good. But the reality is we do consistency over time. And here I am over a decade later, guys, and I haven't eaten meat in a decade. We're pescatarian, so fish has been in there, but it's been consistency over time. Was it hard? Absolutely. Early on, were there days where I was like, I should just give up and quit? Maybe we're not even supposed to be together here because of our dietary differences. No, you just are consistent over time. And then guess what, guys? Now I'm like, hey, guys, I got a 10-year streak going on. You think I want to break that? No, I'm just going to stick with it. Again, consistency over time. So will, skill, refill with focused effort. On Monday, you figure that out. On Tuesday, we're focused on developing skills. If you've got tools at your disposal that I truly believe 100% can accelerate your progress, right? We're talking about shuffle, we're talking about tap. We need to understand how to leverage those tools. The old analogy, we've got this excavator and we've got a shovel and we're going to dig a foundation for our life. We all know how to use a shovel. Pretty self-explanatory, but we don't all know how to use an excavator. When you get an excavator, you got to learn how to use the levers so that you can dig your foundation faster. At the end of the day, you can use both tools to dig a foundation. We're just talking about compressing our timeline with technology and tools. Okay? So will, skill, refill. We do Monday sprint planning. We do Tuesday, Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. If you joined us Wednesday, for the last 3 Wednesdays, there's been additional technology training on each of those, and we're getting replays available. On Thursday, we do this mastermind roundtable discussion. We're gonna end up winding down my little rant here, my little 15-minute training, and shifting over to an in-depth internal discussion. So if you've been watching this on live stream, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're watching the replay of this and you actually want to join the conversation like everybody else you see on the screen, where we're going to get in the meat of it and help each other and focus on each other's progress, you're going to want to get on these lives. You're going to find the link and start joining in the conversation so that you can benefit and improve yourself and move forward. This is what this roundtable is all about. It's about us helping each other. As you can see, Elify is a technology company, but I haven't talked much about technology because technology is only one part of success. Guy, you just joined on. All too often, I see people out there, they think technology is the silver bullet, right? They think technology is the easy button. They're going to push technology and voila, their goals have all been answered and achieved. And the reality is technology is a tool. It's a tool. It still needs to be picked up and used in order to make that progress. It's like having a bicycle. You can either walk to your destination or you can get on and ride, but you still have to get on and pedal. It's going to require work. It's going to require focused effort. And then we round out every week with an all things Elify Friday with the founders. This is your opportunity to ask any question, learn anything about everything Elify, and bring people in to learn a little bit more about this community and stuff like that. So guys, in recap, will, skill, refill. We want to be doing that. The refill, even on the wheel of life, the recommendation is do this every 6 months. Why? So that we can measure our progress from where we were to where we were going in 6-month increments. And if we've met our goals, we can set new goals so that we don't flounder or even regress back. All of this has a reason. There's a method to the madness. And when we commit to the process, and Guy, in sports, we would do that all the time, commit to the process, the results yield themselves. And it's an inevitability. Okay, so with that being said, guys, I'm going to close this live stream out. I want to thank you for viewing this. If this has helped you or inspired you in any way, awesome. Put it into action. Maybe it'll inspire somebody else. Think of who you could share this with. And we hope that you'll join one of the future live